Wow, Hugh Freeze has done the unthinkable.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate Auburn message board legend, the Charlie 5, hanging out with us. You can find him over at thebarnauburn.com. Matthew Caldwell to Texas, not Auburn. Fascinating series of events there. We'll touch on that towards the end of the show. Jackson Arnold gaining confidence, according to Hugh Freeze. More on what that can mean for the offense this season. But look, Hugh Freeze, to me, has done something that I did not see coming, despite talking about this team multiple times every single day, Kyle. And we've talked about every single win that they've had off the field for the last, since he's been here. Maybe not on the field, but off the field. Like, yeah, they're continuing to do things that send the program in the right direction. But we now have two prominent national writers that have Auburn as a top 25 team in all of college football. We're not talking about top 25 rankings when it comes to recruiting or the transfer portal. We're talking about the top 25 teams in college football. Last week, Andy Staples of On3 put Auburn as his 13th ranked team post-spring. And now Joel Klatt of Fox has ranked Auburn as the 22nd team in all of college football in his post-spring rankings. Once again, I'll say the same thing I said after we talked about Staples' rankings last week. I'm a little surprised by all of this, but it does confirm the narrative that's building around Auburn is that they had an incredible offseason, and the young talent that was so bright a year ago is ready to shine even brighter this year.
It doesn't mean as much. I mean, because we cover the team every day, and like we're obviously Auburn fans, so it does. I don't think it lands as much when we talk about it. When you start seeing national heads out there talking about it, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like maybe you're on the right track a little bit. But yeah, I think it signifies all of the. I like that it's post spring too. So like they watched everything. The roster's finished, so that they know now what this Auburn team's going to be. And they feel like the talent's there enough for them to be one of the top 25 teams in the country, at least with Andy, or is it Cat? What was his name again?
Joel Klatt of Fox, 22nd.
Yeah, 22nd. And then the other one, Andy Staples, I think it was 13th. So, confirmation that it feels like at least on paper, the roster's headed in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. And, their top 10 teams are pretty similar. I like Klatt's list better, I think. And I think Auburn being ranked 22nd is more palatable and maybe less drastic than what Staples is. But I still think the same thing I said about Andy Staples putting Auburn at 13 and for Klatt putting Auburn at 22 is like, I do think it's a risk. Like, they clearly believe in something. Like, they don't get there's no upside to putting a team. And this is what's just blown me away with Hugh Freeze. I mean, they've been so bad on the field for the last, since he's been here, as far as wins and losses goes. Yet he has national people thinking they're a top 25 team. Like, I think that's awesome. I think that's incredible.
You would get penalized more in the public eye if Auburn has a bad season, you rank them high, versus if you rank them low and they had a good season.
100%. Yes. No, you said that better than what I was trying to say. 100% agree. Because then you could easily say, like, well, I knew they were talented, but I didn't know if they could put it all together.
Like they have the last 2 years. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's kind of the question that we're asking, right? Is like, I think the roster is pretty good. It's just, are they going to put it all together? So I think more and more folks doing this, and the first few are the ones that really put themselves out there. And then all the other pollsters just kind of copy what they're doing and maybe move folks up and down a few spots. I think there's a real chance, because of these two specific lists, polls with Klatt and Staples, I think there's a real chance Auburn's a ranked team at the start of the year.
It's Depending, I mean, what's the AP? The AP is like writers in the press and stuff like that. So if these guys, I don't know if these particular two have votes in it, but when people start seeing these guys making these lists, I'm with you. I think there is a potential that it could happen. What do you think a 22 ranking at the end of the year looks like record wise? I know that's tough. Do you think that's 9 wins, or
I think it's 9-3.
9-3. The right and with the right 9-3, it could be even higher. But
yeah, the interesting thing with this, and I know it's the case with Staples. Clatts is a little different because Baylor is 24, and Texas A&M is 19, and Oklahoma is 25. So on Staples, the only 2 teams that are ranked in his list that Auburn plays,
Alabama and Georgia,
is Alabama and Georgia. And Klatt has Alabama and Georgia, obviously at 8 and 9, and then has A&M at 19, which of course Auburn goes to College Station. Baylor at 24, which of course Auburn goes to Waco to open the season, and then he's got Oklahoma at 25, which of course Auburn goes to Norman. Yeah. So in this situation, I mean, you're looking at Auburn opening the season on a Friday night in Waco that'll be nationally televised, and it's a ranked matchup.
It could be.
That's what Klatt is saying right now. And then you look at the way A&M goes, then a ranked Auburn team would go to A&M, and a ranked Auburn team would go to Oklahoma. If I had that order right, I may have gotten that backwards, but regardless, it's like if they keep winning, then all of a sudden it's like your program is viewed totally different because those numbers are next to it, and you have the opportunity, if Klatt's list is right, to get 3 ranked wins in the first few weeks of the season. I mean, that'd be tremendous.
First 5 weeks, I think. So like you could be not even halfway through the season, and you got 3 ranked wins. And compared to Hughes, only had 1 so far.
Just A&M, right?
Yeah, A&M was ranked. I think that'd be a pretty huge shift. That would get a lot of people buzzing, I think.
Yeah. It also just goes to show how manageable the schedule should be. Like, it's not like Missouri kind of like built it to compete last year and they fell short, and Auburn almost beat them. Kentucky, I don't think is it. Obviously, Vanderbilt, I know Auburn lost to Vandy last year, but I'm just not seeing it. I don't think they're sneaking up on anybody again. I think it's going to be a disservice to them, because once you get through those first 3 road trips, you play Georgia. That's going to be brutal. But after that, man, the stretch from that point to the Iron Bowl, you should be favored in all of those games.
Depending on how, especially if you come out hot to begin the year,
there are variables 100%. But yeah, the way we think it should unfold, I don't think
you have a better roster than everybody in that stretch. You should have a better roster than everybody in that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, who's close in that situation? Like, is there any roster that you think is close in that stretch? And I want to get the order right. So after Georgia, Missouri at home, I think Auburn's roster is better.
Way better, yeah.
At Arkansas, yes. Kentucky at home, yes. At Vandy, it almost feels like we play better in Nashville than we do at home sometimes. And then Mercer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. If you lose any of those games, I think it's coaching. Or you just missed on quarterback again. And then we're having a larger conversation that was already probably an issue earlier in the season.
Or could there be some crazy injuries? I don't know. But
sure.
I'm
injuries are always a thing. Yeah.
Otherwise, you should definitely be you should not lose any of those games.
Yeah. All right. So Hugh Freeze said something interesting, and it's kind of been a talking point that he's discussed all off season about Jackson Arnold. We share our thoughts next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, right now, you can bet $5, Charlie 5. $5, and if your first $5 bet hits, you get $200 in bonus bets.
What?
Since we're talking about Auburn's schedule and the upside, and we might be booging just a little bit, the over-under for Auburn right now is 7.5 wins, according to our friends at FanDuel. Are you taking the over right now today?
7.5's up there, but I think I'm always going to take the over, and I'm going to be.
I've taken
a beat. I've taken a beat in these last 5 years, but we're going to double
it up. Just double it up, double or nothing over at FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA and the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Kyle Rush, Charlie 5. Hugh Freeze went on with Feinbaum, and the main thing that he talked about was Jackson Arnold regaining his confidence. There's no question Oklahoma broke him. But an interesting thing that's kind of emerged, and the more social media stuff I put out there, you never know which fan base is going to grab it. The last few things I've put out there about Jackson Arnold, Oklahoma fans have found it. And it seemed like right when Jackson committed to Auburn, there was a big wave of Oklahoma fans saying, like, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for everything. Like, it was pretty amicable. Now it doesn't seem to be that. Now it seems to be like, oh, he can't do anything. He'll be benched by week 4. And I think that pivot is interesting. I don't know if they're getting nervous or what, because it's a unique situation where Jackson gets to go back to his previous school and play them pretty early in the season. I mean, I think if Jackson Arnold is the guy that we think he is, former 5-star, player of the year, and a guy that just got beat up mentally because he was in an awful situation at Oklahoma, and Hugh Freeze has surrounded him with so many toys, so many weapons, and a quarterback-friendly system when you can run it well, which apparently, Jackson's done an okay job this spring at. I mean, I just can't imagine a better, arc, a better story to tell than what Jackson could potentially do in the first half of the season.
You play Oklahoma, week 4? Is that right? Or week 5?
It's either the 4. I always get it mixed up. It's the 5th game.
The 5th game of the year. So it's almost like
it's the 4th game. I'm sorry. I keep getting them mixed up.
Baylor,
Ball State, South Alabama at Oklahoma.
It's almost like when people are talking about, oh, Walker White could be the starter against Auburn next year. But you kind of see a similar type scenario this year. Hugh talked about obviously him gaining confidence throughout spring, but you really don't know what happens until you really get into the season and you start having some success. And I'm thinking, honestly, with everything that happened last year and how mentally beat up he has to be, I would imagine you need some success pretty quickly in the Baylor game, like within the first couple of drives.
Yeah, I get that.
I really do. I really think there's a lot riding on that game from that standpoint, because you can only get so much done at practice. You can only get so much done in a controlled environment until the bullets really start flying. You find out where you really are mentally, and I hate to put the pressure on him, but I know that from a headspace standpoint, those first couple 2 or 3 drives are going to be very, very important for Jackson, moving forward to the rest of the season. And if they go well, you have some success, boy, man, you could have some fireworks going into Norman, because he's going to be fired up, super fired up, to kind of give it back to the school that blamed him for a lot of the problems that he had no control over.
Right. Yeah, to what you said about is it gonna strike quick or not? I think we're gonna know pretty early. I don't think it's gonna be a situation like last year where we put up 70 points and we're like, oh man, this feels good. This feels great. It feels different. I think it's what we said a bunch. Baylor, it's Baylor's getting a lot of respect, a lot of love, especially their quarterback, which I think is solid. I've seen some lists say he's the 4th best quarterback in college football. I'm like, I don't know about that. I think he's good. I don't know if he's the 4th best quarterback in college football, but we'll see. Regardless, the defense is going to be tested quickly. The defensive line, the linebackers, the DBs, the whole thing. So I love that. As far as the offensive side of the football, Baylor's going to have some guys, but this is a game that Auburn should win. But man, just the whole dynamic of so much newness at Auburn paired with a Friday night game, I just think it has weird written all over it.
It does. I've never liked off Saturday games like Thursday, and I don't even remember if we used to play the Iron Bowl on Friday. Remember that little year stretch where we played the Iron Bowl on the Friday right after Thanksgiving for like
so we played
3 or 4 years.
We played Kentucky on a midweek. I think it was a Thursday once.
Yeah.
I think Sean White was at
Sean White, yeah, and had the big interception.
In 2014, we played Kansas State in Manhattan. That was a Tyler Lockett team. I think Duke Williams caught on a third.
It was a third and
converted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, converted there, and that was obviously fun. And then was Mississippi State Cam's year on a Thursday?
It was either that one or Kentucky. There was. It might
have been Kentucky.
I feel like there was a Thursday game in there.
Yeah, I think there was too. So, I mean, with all those, all those ended up pretty good. So, does that matter? No, but
I don't think so. It's just weird.
It is weird. It was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday in Starkville in 2010. Auburn won 17-14. So. That was that last drive. They're like, nobody else touched it but Cam. It was just like 4-yard run all the way down the field.
Whole way.
Yeah, then they kicked the field goal at the end, if I remember correctly. So, but all in all, yeah, more confidence for Jackson. The one thing that I don't love about this narrative, and some of this, I understand, what else is Hugh Freeze supposed to say?
Yeah.
So, I get that, and so, I'm not I don't think this is the heaviest thing in the world. But when we talked about Peyton Thorne, he never said how good of a quarterback he was. He talked about how good of a leader he was. And with Jackson, it's he's not really coming, he's talking about what he did in high school and former 5-star and player of the year. You don't really hearing a ton of stuff about what he's done here. But once again, what's he supposed to say? I'm just asking the question.
I thought he mentioned he loved what he could do with his legs, his overall arm talent, and football IQ. I think he mentioned those three things specifically.
So counterpoint, you're right. The counterpoint, I mean, they're not going live. So how does he know what he can do with his legs, at least in this offense? I mean, yeah. I agree with that. I think Jackson's going to be solid. I'm just kind of,
I get it,
playing devil's advocate here.
I get it. And this May, I'm with you. What are you supposed to say to Paul Feinbaum? And I'm sure he asked you specifically something about, Jackson and rebounding from his season at Oklahoma. It's just, we're all going to have an element of show me to us. It's just impossible not to.
I agree, which is why I'm shocked national folks are putting Auburn in the top 25.
I couldn't agree more.
Because it feels like a show me type situation for Jackson, for Hugh, for Auburn as a program. So I'm a little surprised that folks are putting them in their top 25 because of the whole show me aspect. So yeah, we're in agreement there. The Matthew Caldwell, the former Troy quarterback, now Texas quarterback. What an interesting story.
Yeah.
What an interesting story. Let's talk about that in a second. Right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. And can you imagine looking for specialized talent anywhere other than with our friends at Upwork?
I could not. Can't do it.
No. Would you like to find the right talent or the wrong talent, Charlie 5?
If I'm in a pinch, I'm going to choose the right.
The right talent. Upwork is great for that. Do you want the hiring process to take a long time?
I prefer it to be quicker if it's possible.
Yeah, Upwork is great for that.
Okay.
Do you want it to be easy or hard, Kyle?
I like a challenge, but in this scenario, I want to go.
You don't always want a challenge, right? Yeah. You want to, an Upwork can help you. It's also cost effective. Instead of hiring full time, Upwork helps find affordable top tier freelancers to scale any business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork, UPWRK.com. Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. So Matthew Caldwell, there's, differing reports on this, but it seems like the most likely scenario is he visited Auburn and went super well. This is a local kid. He's coming home, Sounds like he told the staff that he was coming. It sounds like he committed to the staff. Are you hearing otherwise? Because that's what I've read in multiple places. And then after that, we kind of all expected a graphic to pop in the next 48 hours or so. Didn't happen. And then it's like, oh, all right, it's going to Texas. It's going to Texas.
Yeah.
Kind of an interesting situation. So Auburn is down a fourth string quarterback.
Let me ask you this, Zach. First of all, would you consider me, I would say of pretty much anybody that covers Auburn, I'm probably more lenient on Hugh Freeze than most. Would you say that's pretty fair as far as I feel like I go to bat for him more than anything. So I want you to keep that in mind when I say this, when I say what I'm about to say. So,
okay.
Who has given the fan base, or who has given us the most talk about the need for a fourth quarterback? Hugh Freeze.
Sure.
Hugh Freeze is the one that's told us about needing a fourth quarterback. I don't care if we have a fourth quarterback. I don't think a fourth quarterback on scholarship is necessary. I think you use those spots elsewhere. Okay, so that's how I feel about that. This, to me, is so strange because it felt like the only reason that Matthew Caldwell doesn't end up at Auburn is because we weren't sure, didn't really push. And then when we finally did push, it was too late, and we let some other schools that had maybe a better shot, or not a better shot, better opportunity come into play. It seemed like a slam dunk, like an easy one. I don't really understand why this thing went as long as it did, and then ended up the way it did. Like, let me tell you that, like, for example, if you had that scholarship spot that you needed for like a trench guy, like somebody in the trenches, or a pass rusher or something like that, I totally get it. I don't think we need a fourth quarterback, but that spot was open. You know what I mean? Like, that spot was open. And Hugh's the one that always talks about fourth quarterback. You got to have 4 quarterbacks to run a practice. You got to have 4 quarterbacks. He's the one that said it more than any, and then they just kind of don't get it done.
I'm with you. I don't think
really
it matters. Like, I don't think, and there's different versions of like the fourth quarterback on your roster. This isn't Walker White last year, where it's like he represents upside and hope for the future. This is a dude who was going to be it. He's just kind of parking his eligibility at Auburn because he's a local guy and he's been an Auburn fan. Like, this isn't a hot shot freshman that you just need to develop for a year. Yeah. If you don't have the hot shot freshman, like, I don't care. Like, give it to John Colvin. Like, from a running scout team point of view, I don't think there's that much of a difference.
I don't either.
Now, I do think the guy is probably, like, Matthew Caldwell's probably better than John Colvin. He started. I think that's cool. You'd rather have that than not. But I'm with you. Like, if you need that scholarship for another spot, I'm totally cool with it. The Caldwell thing was just such a perfect fit because you needed such a unique situation. Yeah. And then it seemed like they didn't go with that. I don't know. It's kind of,
but it only seemed like a necessary situation because that's what Hugh said. Like, that's what he would say. Like, you got to have a fourth quarterback. Like, otherwise, I don't think anybody would really care one way or the other. That's no knock to Matthew Caldwell or anything like that. I just don't think that's been on the must-haves of the fan base is the fourth quarterback. That's all been driven by, Hugh saying it almost over and over again. So that's where I'm just like, okay, well then this was an easy one. Why didn't we get it? It's just, I don't know. Whole situation's kind of strange.
It is strange. It's totally strange. So I
don't think it means one more win or one more loss. Either
I don't think
way.
it means anything. I don't think it means anything. I just thought it had the opportunity to be a cool story.
Yeah, very cool.
And cool, whatever. Go to Texas. That's fine. That's fine.
Hey, believe it or not, I was kind of shocked whenever I heard that he was interested in Texas. Have you looked at Texas' depth chart? Arch Manning has just decimated that quarterback room.
Oh, are they thin?
Yeah, I mean they have KJ Lacey. Is that right? Is it true?
Oh yeah, forgot about KJ. Yeah,
and then they have another kid who I think was maybe a 4-star or whatever, but that's it. They really don't have much. Arch just kind of ran everybody off. So
yeah. All right.
So he'll have a better shot.
Matthew Caldwell.
he'll have a better shot to win the number 2 spot than he would at Auburn by far.
And if that's important to him, good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like if he wants to be a number 2 instead of just, a guy running practice or whatever, cool. Good for him. Good for him. Whatever.
For sure.
Awesome. How can people check out everything you've got going on?
Subscribe to thebarnauburn.com. Use actually, you don't even need a coupon code. You just get to take $25 off your annual membership if you sign up for the annual membership. So get in there, get in the conversation, jump in the game threads. When those hit back up, got a chance to even be on the show on Friendship Friday. So that's been a big hit. So have some fun there. And then obviously the Barn Auburn YouTube page, you can catch all my content, all our content.
And hey, I'll tell you what, guys, with Auburn baseball heating up, there's no other board you want more than ours because we have Lindsey Crosby.
And Sonny DeShera.
And Sonny D, Brad Law. I mean, the Barn baseball is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the game threads, go check it out for all of your Auburn baseball stuff. The final few weeks of the season, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It seems really.
Sonny
D
good. Sonny D hit a grand slam this weekend, and he's going to talk about Auburn baseball on the Barn Baseball Show. Can't wait.
Incredible stuff. So please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.